We are back with Don Kinsler with the NDSU Extension Service. We just made one plant into 3 potted plants, and now we have another fun project when we're talking about our indoor house plants.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't this a cute project?
Super cute.
A terrarium in the shape of a pig. Now, Extension was out at the Red River Valley Fair for about 10 days, and we had this out there with us. And what a fun project, especially for children.
Yes.
Now, garden centers sell little plants, especially for making terrariums. So you start in. I put a little charcoal in the bottom, then good potting soil. This has been growing for almost 2 months. And it's fun to do a little decorating. Probably can't see on camera, but we put a little vegetable garden in there with little signs. We got a little rabbit nibbling.
I know, because you told me that the rabbit had tipped over. I don't know. I think we can kind of, oh, there we can see, there's a little action. I think I see the rabbit ears on the camera there.
So isn't this fun? And of course, terrariums will self-water. The moisture condenses in, so really watering every 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So they're really self-caring and great projects to get kids involved with gardening. And you tuck the plants in. Now the plants are going to overgrow, but we can do a little bit of trimming. A person like even these types, my hand does fit in, does reach in. I can do a little trimming. And so wonderful projects for the terrarium. Now, one other thing we were going to mention. Now, we talked about with house plants, we talked about dividing a plant that had multiple plants. There are other ways to start more plants. For example, this is an arrowhead plant, a beautiful plant. Now, as they start growing, they become actually vining.
Oh.
And if we want to start more plants, this one doesn't have multiple plants all coming from the base, but we can start plants from cuttings. Now I find an area up here, and I'll actually cut it off so we can see a little better. Now this will make a very nice cutting. So we can remove the lower leaves, and by cutting I mean a portion of a plant, about 6 to 8 inches, and we can put this either in water or in potting mix and get it to root. If you notice, it's already got the little starts of roots almost there. So we could start an entirely new arrowhead plant by starting a cutting. And as long as we're talking plants, I noticed when we potted up the terrarium here, I noticed that we had little insects flying. Now, many of us have noticed when we're working with our house plants in the home, you'll oftentimes have little black bugs kind of flying around.
Yeah.
They're called fungus gnats. And the fungus gnats don't really harm too much, but they have a life cycle. That little black fly that's so annoying, also that lays eggs in the soil, and the eggs turn into a little larvae that can feed on the roots. And I had noticed when I potted this up that there were little black flies. There's a great product. We could use a spray, but this is a great product. It's funny, it's called mosquito bits. And mosquito bits, right underneath the label, it actually says also for fungus gnats. What we do is we sprinkle this on the soil following label directions, and that will kill the larvae stage. So it breaks the life cycle of the fungus gnats. So whether you've got a terrarium or other house plants, mosquito bits is a great product to use.
Will the fungus gnats kill your plants when they get down into the roots?
Yeah, the little larvae do feed on roots, and so they won't automatically outright kill the plant, but it decreases their vigor. Now, one thing I was going to mention, too, as long as we're talking about the plants like this, it's in a fairly large pot. A common question is, how often should we water our plants?
Yes.
And many people feel that they overwater their plants. Now, overwatering means that we keep them continually too soggy. It doesn't mean that you put too much on at one time, because if pots like this have a drainage hole, the excess will drain out the bottom, which we can catch in a drainage dish. But overwatering means that we're watering too often, and it keeps that soil too soggy. See, plant roots need oxygen, and letting them dry out a little bit pulls oxygen down into the roots. So that makes for a healthier plant. So to determine if a plant does need watering, there are 3 ways. First of all, if you've lived with a houseplant for a while, try lifting the pot You can tell the weight of a pot in the soil. That's one way to tell. Also, the finger test. Just insert your finger up to the first joint, and if you feel moisture at the tip, then don't water. And this one I can feel a little moisture. The other way is to look at the soil surface. If it's light, then it's an indication that it's starting to dry. This is getting a little light, but I feel moisture at the tip, so I'll probably water this plant tomorrow.
Okay. Great advice. Don, as always, it's fun when you come in and give us, whether you got bugs or you're overwatering or you're ready to start dividing up your plants, you make it look so easy. So thanks for coming in today.
Yeah,
how do people get a hold of you if they have some questions? They can email you.
The best way is to email me, donald.kinsler@ndsu.edu.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Stay with us. Coming up next on North Dakota Today, get ready to be entertained. We are previewing Rock of Ages that is coming to the lights.